Hello guys, welcome to TechHedron. So in this series we will be discussing DS and Algo. Okay, so the first topic which I'm going to start in this series, it will be recursion. So we will be doing some recursion basic problems first. After that we will be moving to the lead code and try to pick up some easy problem. After that some medium problem, after that some hard problems over there. So currently in this video I will pick up some problems which are really basic problems for recursion and the easiest one as well. So if you are trying to start recursion, so these are the problems which you should go for first so that you could build some confidence. After that you will go for the higher rates of problems. So let's get started, and in this video we will be discussing the basic and the easiest problem of recursion, that is called factorial. Okay, so let's get started. So let's go to IntelliJ IDEA and let's try to create a new project for this. So you can go to file and create a new project. So here we'll be choosing Java, and here it is. The SDK version is 11 for me, so I'll be using Java 11. So I'll be doing next. We are not going to create the project from any template, so I'll be doing next again. After that we need to provide a project name, so that will be a DSLGO, and we'll be putting it inside the YouTube folder. Now doing next. So this window I will be trying to open it. Yeah, so I think it got open, so it's doing indexing, it's done. So yeah, I'll be doing a new Java class. Okay, not class. So first let me create a package so that I can like separate all of the tutorials. com.esa dot recursion. Actually, let's do it on this DSA. So this is my package. Inside that I'll be creating the class which is called recursion, recur.java. So here it goes. So this is our class. Let's write a main method and try to run it to check whether our project is working properly or not. So public static void main. So you always put the main method as static method because we need to run it without creating an object of that class. Okay, so yeah, so we'll be taking some variable arguments as a string args. So these arguments can be provided from the command line when you are trying to run it from the CLI. Now let's try to print out something. System dot out dot println. Okay, please subscribe. So that is the message we wanted to print over here, and let's run it and check that whether our project is running well or not. Okay, so it's currently building. It will take a little bit of time for building this thing. So it's generating the class. Okay, it's done. So yeah, it's printed. Please subscribe. So yeah, do subscribe and hit that bell icon. Now let's go to the factorial thing. So let's discuss what is factorial basically. So I think you will be knowing that what is the factorial, but let's discuss once again. So let's pick up example. So let's say we are doing 3 factorial. So what is that means? That means 3 multiplied into 2 multiplied into 1. That is called 6. Correct? So the number which we are trying to make factorial, so we need to multiply it with its lesser numbers, and the limit will be greater than 0. So it's like 3 to 1. So okay, now how we are going to code it. So it's like we from this thing we can see a pattern basically. So the pattern is like so let's say 3 is the n, so this is our nth item. So n factorial we are doing. So what we are doing, n minus 1 then multiplied with n minus 2 multiplied with dot 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 dot. So related to that. So from this we can like get this thing. Okay, n factorial is equal to n multiplied with n minus 1 factorial basically. So we can reduce this thing from this one. Okay, so now we are going, since we have this logic, like whenever this is the n factorial we are trying to get, and so we need to multiply that n with the n minus 1th factorial. So how we are going to code it? So we will be taking the recursive approach because we are learning recursion over here. So let me write a method first. So this method will be a public method. I will do it as a static because I am not going to create an object of this class. I will be calling this method directly from the main method without creating an object of this class. So that's why I will put static over here. So this will return an integer value because when we are trying to get a factorial for the integer number, so I'll be returning the integer value only for that method. So factorial, let's say factorial, and it will take an integer number as well, so that is called num. Okay, so now what we'll do, so whenever we are writing a recursion solution, we need to focus on three things basically. So the first thing is the recursion call. So recursion means we will be calling the same method with multiple inputs, or the inputs which are like smaller than the original one. So first we will calling the factorial with the nth number. After that the second call will be doing n minus 1, then after that n minus 2. So we will be reducing that input value for this method. So this is the first thing which we need to do the recursion call. So recursion call will be like n into n minus 1 factorial. So I'll be return num multiplied factorial num minus 1. Okay, yeah, yes. So we'll be returning num minus 1 factorial. Now if we run this thing, so it will go to an infinite loop because we don't have a condition which will break it. Like first 3 will come here, then we will do 3 into 3 minus 1, which is 2. After that 2 into 2 minus 1, which is 1. Then 1 into 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. Then minus 1 minus 2 minus 3. It will be go like that, and it will comes under a infinite loop. So the second condition is to mention a base condition in this factorial method or any recursion method. So I told you three things we need to provide in a recursion method. First one is the logic or the recursion logic, which will give us the answers or which will split this method. And after that the base condition where this method will break out from the recursion loop. So in this case, what will be our base condition? So there is a tip. So whenever you are trying to find a base condition from a recursion function, just go with the smallest valid input for that function. So in this case, our smallest valid input will be 0, because as we know that 0 factorial is equal to 1 always. So let's put it like that. So if our num is equal to 0, then we'll be returning 1 over here. So this is our the second condition matched. So we have put a recursion condition, we have put a base condition. Now we need to the third thing which I will be going to mention basically. So this is the edge case handlation, or we need to handle edge cases which will be present inside the this, what do you say, solution. So let's first run it and check if it's working or not. Then we'll come to the edge cases, whether it handles those things or not. So let me create int res is equal to factorial 3. Let's put it down like that, and system.out.println, I will be putting res over here. Correct? Yeah. Now let's run it and check like what is the output. So it's giving us 6, which is our desired output from here. So this statement, we saw that it should be 6, and our output came as a 6. Let's say we do here 0, factorial of 0, it's 1, which is correct. The factorial of 0 is equal to 1. Let's say minus 1, 12. So we have got an infinite loop over there. So this is a edge case we found out there. and it can be like 1.2. 1.2 also we can pass there, correct? But since it's a static, so it's a statically typed language, Java is a statically typed language, we are explicitly mentioning here like which type of input we are getting over there. So Java will give us an error in the compile time only, so we don't need to consider this one, the floating point value passing into our function explicitly. So Java will be taking care of it. But if it's a dynamically typed language like Node.js or Python, we need to take care of this solution as well. Like if we are expecting an integer number and we are passing a floating point or double value, so we need to take care of that thing as well. But in this case, we found the condition which is like a negative number, for which we are getting infinite loop, or it's breaking the code. So in this case, what we need to do, we need to handle this condition, like whenever we are passing a negative value, what should be the factorial of it. So as per, we know that we will be providing the feature whenever you are passing a negative number, we will be always returning -1. So we can do that thing, yeah, because yeah, we can do that thing. So let's say this will be our edge case handling. So if number is equal to or not equal to less than 0, then return -1. Okay, if I type it correctly, it will be -1, correct. So in this case, let's run it, and we should not get this Stack Overflow error. Okay, so it's returning as -1. So now, so this is our edge case handle. This is our base condition. Recursion logic. So we are covering all of the three aspects of the recursion function. So whenever we are trying to put a recursion function, we need to handle these three things properly to run it properly. So like whenever, first of all, the recursion logic, which will give you the answer. Second one is base condition, so that we won't get the Stack Overflow error, or it breaks the loop, and the edge case handling. So whenever we need to handle some edge cases like negative numbers, in this case negative numbers and floating point numbers, we need to handle those things. So whenever you are trying to write a recursion problem, you always need to write these three conditions inside this method. So we can split a recursion function into these three parts. Okay, now the base condition. So there is another tip which I'm trying to remember, is the base condition. So the base condition will be the always smallest valid input. This will be our base condition, because this is our smallest valid input, and we need to return a particular value for this input, because the input cannot be smaller than this. And as per the factorial guidelines which I've told you earlier, so in the factorial function, what we do, like we call the same method with the smaller input, but when the base condition is reached, that is the smallest input which we have. The input cannot be smaller than this. So in this time, we need to return some value which can give you a proper answer. So that's all for this video basically. So I think the basics are clear now for the recursion things. So we have discussed these three things which are mandatory for a recursion function, and we need to always remember this step to execute a function properly. Okay, so yeah, so I think if you are not subscribed, you should subscribe it, because I will be I'm again repeating myself, because I will be putting down all of the videos one by one. So I will be covering some basic programs of the recursion first. After that, we will be jumping into the LeetCode, and I will be doing some easy problems from there, medium problems from there, and hard problems are there. So so that our recursion concept will be like concrete strong. Okay, so yeah, thanks for watching this video, and so bye for now, and we'll meet into the next video. Bye.